Oh, I just hit.
Oh my God!
Welcome to Scarves and Spikes. Welcome, everybody, to Scarves and Spikes. I'm laughing because I never got to hit the go live button before, and then I screwed it up.
A little bit. You actually
screwed it up. I didn't know there were two. I didn't know you had to hit it twice.
We're good. We're good.
We are a year and almost a half in, and I cannot believe that's the first time you've hit the button.
I've never got to hit the button before. This was exciting.
First time for everything.
Yeah, right. But yeah, welcome. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, it's been a week so far, right? And if you've been on Twitter, you've been talking a lot about Atlanta United, been talking a lot about Pineda, so we're going to talk about the Cincinnati game, get that over with. We had a trade that made me spit out my drink when I read it, and then we got to get ready for Chicago. So we're busy, but guys, how have you been enjoying your time since Saturday?
It's been okay. Tyler, what do you think?
Just okay. I've been doing great, man. We've been busy. We've been busy, just like Atlanta United's been busy, apparently. There's a lot going on this week that's kind of flying under the radar, I feel like the Twos are about to play Chattanooga, which is great because Chattanooga is one of my favorite teams. Somebody's getting their first start. I think Omar said it.
Josh Cohen, baby.
Josh Cohen.
He's alive?
He is alive.
I don't believe it. If it's like a cardboard cutout of him that they just put in, and it's like the Home Alone scene where they just move him back and forth.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But I'm good. I'm good.
He's playing, apparently.
That's gonna be a match.
Guys, I saw the score of the Twos after we talked. What was the score after Wednesday?
4-1.
4-1, and that is why I cannot watch the Twos. I just can't. I can't dedicate 90 minutes plus stoppage, over the weekend for more of a disappointment than what I had to deal with on Saturday.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's fair. It's fair.
Don't stop watching altogether, though.
You gotta pay, like I said last week, you've got to pay attention to the individual players. Like Javier Armas.
I would like to see wins, though. I don't want to just look at individuals like, ooh, ah. I want to see them be a little bit competitive, right? Like,
I get that.
There is a Next Pro trophy, right?
There is.
The playoffs?
There is.
Okay. Well, good thing there's not relegation.
You know what's cool about the playoffs? The higher seed gets to pick their opponent. I think that's brilliant.
It's cool. Like, that's a cool concept because that's like that's locker room banter, right? Like, they chose us.
Yeah, 100%.
They chose us.
Yeah, let's go F them up.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a cool is a cool thing that they do. It could backfire on you, of course.
Of course.
Pick a
I want it to backfire on every team that does it. Everyone backfire.
That's what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
What makes it so fun.
Maybe we'll make the playoffs one time.
Imagine doing that MLS, though.
I think it would have been great.
Pick who you play in MLS or the NBA or another big league.
I mean, in MLS, you have just about anybody to pick from anyway, so you might as well let me choose, right?
Pick your poison.
All right. Well, before we talk about Cincinnati, join us on Patreon, patreon.com/scarves and spikes. Come hang out with us. We are going to have a fun watch along on Saturday at 8. Hop on with us. We'll have a Zoom link to everyone on Patreon. You can come join us. It's going to be a big game, right? This is a huge game coming up for Atlanta United. You just dropped points at home in 2 straight games. This is probably your easiest chance of an away loss that they have. Come join us. We're gonna have some drinks. We're gonna chat. It's cheaper than going out to the bar. And if you don't have anyone to hang out with, then come hang out with us. It'll be a good time.
The whole thing is cheaper.
We'll be there.
The whole thing is cheaper than going out to a bar. Just a little bit of money to support us, and then you get to have your own alcohol or whatever you want to drink. It's all cheaper than going to the bar.
We've never won on a watch along either.
Nope.
First time for everything, though.
Well, we're winning. We'll get to that later. But Cincinnati, tell me if you guys have heard this script before. Atlanta United goes up 1-0 at home against Cincinnati and then allows 2 straight goals.
Yes,
have you seen that before?
Heard that before. I have.
Oh, Tyler's taking his glasses off.
Go ahead, Sydney. I'll give you my 2 cents.
I feel like we should talk more big picture at this point.
Like Kirk Cousins?
Well, Jesus.
What do you mean? Like Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins. You know what? That guy is a curse. Okay, I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, and this guy already has come into Atlanta. We lost. They gave him a bunch of jewelry at Atlanta, so he came in wearing all that. He does the spike. I was afraid he was going to tear his ACL. We lose the game. Then he goes over to the Braves. He did. But then he went to the Braves, and then he threw out the first pitch, and then they lost. And I did some research. When he was hurt last year, he did the horn thing at Minnesota. I don't know why I did this thing, but the Minnesota horn thing where you blow into it. Guess what happened? They got wrecked like 31-10 against the Packers on New Year's Eve. I've done my research on this.
That is interesting.
Kirk Cousins, stay away. Okay, you could be a quarterback for the Falcons. Stay away from everybody. The Dream, the Hawks. What's the volleyball team?
The Vibe.
The Vibe.
Okay,
yeah.
the Vibe. They ain't vibing you. Stay away from them. Stay away from every team. Huh? No, he could go. If he throws a bunch of touchdowns this season and wins the Falcons, good. You hate the Falcons anyway, City. Don't get on me on this. Stay away from Atlanta United. Stay away from Atlanta United. We don't need you. We don't need the spike thing. Unless you want to come on the show, then you can come hang out with us. However, stay away from Atlanta United.
Stay away from Atlanta United unless you want to be a guest. Okay, great.
Yeah. This is day one of me just asking, putting it in the universe for one of those chains. I like the freaking chains. Those were sweet. I'm not going to lie. I'd wear it every day. Every day.
I don't know if I could.
All day, every day.
I'm not cool enough to rock that.
I don't care. I don't even care. I would wear it every day.
I had a gold, whatever it was, like the Italian people. I'm Italian. Was it the luck, the horn? Is it the horn? I think. I don't know. I had one of those. I don't know. I that's the only gold I ever wore, and it just didn't look right on me. Anyways, back to Cincinnati. Kazoo? Not a kazoo. No, I think it's like an Italian horn thing. I don't know. It's what your parents give you. I don't know. Maybe my mom just made this up, and I'm not paying. Italian Mafia? No. Yeah, Italian horn charm. There you go.
Oh, Italian horn charm. I've never heard of it, but maybe maybe I'll
comes with the side of spaghetti. That's what I got. Yeah. All right, at Olive Garden. Came with it. It was a Happy Meal. All right, back to Cincinnati. damn, we are way off. Kirk Cousins, stay away from the team. Back to Cincinnati. We lost. Almada, what were you doing? Okay, we got there. You guys discuss.
Well, I was going to make, I mean, I feel like we should, talk more big picture because there's a quote about Pineda said, and I don't know if we want to leave it until later, but I think we just talk big picture. Just looking ahead to Chicago, maybe just a little bit, and we'll preview, of course, later on. But I wrote about this on scarsandspecs.com. A little plug for myself. Why? Well, not why, but yeah, why is this happening? Why does this keep happening? And how much of this falls on Gonzalo Pineda versus the players executing? And depending on what school of thought you're in, whether you're in the Pineda out crowd or not in the Pineda out crowd, I feel like that kind of informs your answer just a little bit, right? My whole overarching point is that the team will eventually take on the identity of its coach. For better or for worse. Okay. The team will take on the identity of its coach.
That's deep.
Thank you. And you can get
Thomas over here.
But you can get, players in place that maybe don't reflect your technical mindset as much. You could get players in that reflect your technical mindset exactly right on the money. But eventually, as a collective, that team will take on your identity. I'm not saying that Gonzalo Pineda should be fired tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that at some point, not at some point, but the performance of the team rests on his shoulders. It rests on his shoulders. And again, that's for better or for worse. When the team's doing well, I look at throughout the Chicago Bulls to the LA Lakers from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and Phil Jackson, right? Phil Jackson was an incredible coach who coached some of the best players the game has ever seen. Jordan, Pippen, Kobe, R.A.P., Shaq. And you can't just throw anyone in there to coach those players. It needs a person in there who can but can bring all of those players together under a common goal. Like, there are some times I feel like Michael Jordan just wanted to strangle Phil Jackson. But
I mean, yeah.
He won. But he won, and they won. They won multiple times, the Bulls did. They won multiple times, the Lakers, same thing. I feel like Shaq and Kobe just wanted to strangle Phil Jackson sometimes. But he was able to get the best out of the players that he was given. And, it's easy to say, okay, the coach didn't matter because these were great players. I feel like in that case, the coach did matter because you need a coach in there to bring the collective together, get the best out of the collective. Atlanta United has really good players. They have great players. Is Gonzalo Pineda getting the best out of the collective of players that he has? And I have to say, I don't think so. I don't think he is. He's an incredibly nice guy. He's a great guy. I love, talking to him in press settings and all of that. He's very intelligent. But at the same time, are you getting the best out of your players? All of your players. If you are, why are you still making the same mistakes over and over and over again? And I'm not someone who calls for coaches to be fired, but I mean, this week could be a real reckoning for Atlanta United if they don't win. This is a Chicago team who isn't very good, who on paper you should beat. I don't care if it's on the road. On paper, you should beat this team. This is a struggling team. They just got blown out by RSL 4-0 in their last match. So this really could be a point of reckoning for Atlanta United.
Is this a must-win match for Pineda?
I'm not going to say must win. I'm going to say you really need to win this match. I'm going to kind of steer away from the must win kind of narrative. but you really need to win this match. So that's kind of my mini, not rant, but that's kind of my viewpoint coming into this week and coming into this match against Chicago. So what do you guys think? I went a little long. I apologize.
No, you're good. Because you bring up a lot of points. Here's the thing, because the fan base has been very divided, I think, over this. But I think ultimately there are a lot more people in the past 7 days that are in the Pineda out train than there were 8 days ago.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I totally agree. Pineda, super great guy, super nice guy. And I will say the guy, I could care less about the press access, all that kind of stuff. Like I don't say anything bad about him, not because I'm not trying to be impartial, but I do feel like his tactics are there. I think the mindset has got to get tougher, because I do genuinely think hearing him talk, hearing him explain the way that he sees the game and the way that he wants his game to be played, if the players aren't getting it, the players need to get their head out of their rear end. That being said, he's going to have to be, and I'm just going to say it, and I apologize in advance for the we're not at 8:00 yet. He needs to be a little bit more of an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
He needs to lay into some of these players for the stupid, boneheaded, dumbass mistakes that they make.
Yeah.
One time, cool. Make a mistake. That's going to happen in every game, in every match played every single day on this earth. I don't care if it's U5 all the way up to the Premier League. Mistakes will be made, but how you handle the mistakes as a coach and then how the players receive that criticism is how the players and the team as a whole get better. You see the best coaches in the world accepting nothing less than perfection. They acknowledge that they're never going to reach perfection, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to stop. They're not going to try. So, yeah, I mean, I think the phrase "no more Mr. Nice Guy" is maybe a little too far, because Pineda there is something to Pineda's ability to explain the game that cannot get lost in just losing his mind on people. But there needs to be a little bit more of an accountability by everybody. You need to be a little bit more of a dick, not to be a dick,
right,
but to affect change, so that next time when that same scenario or a similar one comes up, that doesn't happen again. A mistake that keeps happening is a bad habit. Stop doing it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I understand, like the Almada thing. We'll use it as an example. It's not the whole thing that happened in that match, but to me, it's part of a bigger issue where it's, and we've already said it this week. Like as soon as the game was over, all of us were like, you just subbed on Yorgos Giakoumakis, and then you decide to take a short corner. Put the freaking ball in the box. Let him go up and get it, please. It's just little things like that. Like, better as a player. All of you do. So just stop making the same mistakes over and over again. Just get your head screwed on right. Go into the game with the mentality that you need to be a winner, not just be a not loser, not just be somebody that's okay with drawing. You go into these matches that you were going to win every single one, come hell or high water, period. And to get that point across, I think you need to be a little bit of a dick, because right now at this point, and it's nothing against Pineda, I just think he needs to be a little tougher on some guys, period. Does that mean I think that he's not the right coach? No, I actually really, again, I've heard him talk about his tactics. I think they're great. I really do. but the mentality's got to be fixed, and it's got to be fixed like now, because I do feel like this weekend is a must-win match. I do. You've dropped 5 points at home in the past 2 matches. It would be different if you had done what you had to do at home. You didn't. Now you got to start making up ground, and it has to start this weekend. Chicago's not a good team, and F off with all the we can't go away and win. MLS is a hard league to play, and
RSL just beat them 4-0 at their place.
Exactly. Like, so you can do it. You have to do it. You have to win this match. Period. Because you going up there with anything else in your mind is absolute garbage, and it's a cop-out. Period.
Wow, you two ranting, and I've got nothing. This is opposite day.
It's the first time for everything, like you said earlier.
Right? The quote that Pineda said, and I think, looking at it the first time and then looking at it again, yeah, he kind of did that in a way, right? And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I mean, it started with, I think you're giving too much credit today to the coaches. I think that once the ball starts to roll, it's all on the players, the good and the bad. I think it's all on them. And, at this point, there's a lot of individual mistakes that have been made over the time, right? Also goals being immediately scored after you score. Like, a lot of things that we talk about that have happened for a long time are starting to happen again. And I think that's what is scaring us more than anything, right? It's giving us PTSD about this, because let's not pretend that it wasn't good to start the season. Like, those 3 out of 4 games that you had at home to start the year, you outscored your team. You outscored your opponents 9-1. Like, it hasn't been a complete disaster, but international breaks, injuries have just caused this team to go downhill, and has caused this team to revert back to some of these things that have had. And Zil says real good, there's no mental toughness in this team. We've been saying this for a long time, right? Like, when you keep running into the same scenarios, when you allow a goal real quick to start the game, which thankfully, knock on everything, that hasn't happened, where like you get scored on in the first couple minutes, but like that was something that was happening for a long time, right? They got to get better. And, again, it's not all on Pineda. And that's, I think, one of the things that, I hate about sports just in general is like the hot takes of, it's this one person's fault that it's, they didn't do this. And just because it's draft week and everything, and I'm wearing his jersey and he retired, Matt Ryan had years of just everything getting blamed on him. Everything, the entire team was blamed on him. Never mind that he had the best stats in the Super Bowl, like, of all time, right? At that point, he had one of the best Super Bowl performances ever. But he hadn't had a top 10 defense. Like,
coordinator blew it anyway.
Right, but they didn't have. He never had a top 10 defense. Like, I think maybe once. Like, but they don't look at that. They look to blame it on someone. And yeah, I don't think this is all on Pineda for sure. But he's got to get this team together. And this Saturday in Chicago, the road games are not easy after this. I mean, we can go through it later, but it's not going to get easier as far as a road opponent than what Chicago is. And I watched Chicago, I think the week before, it was like a 0-0 draw. I think they went to, I think they played the Red Bulls, and the Red Bulls were down a guy like most of the game. They still couldn't score on them. Like, Chicago has been struggling here. There's no excuses. There's no draw. There's no losing. There's only winning. There's only Zool for Ghostbuster nerds out there.
You can't go into this match thinking it's okay to walk away with just a point.
No.
At all. That mindset's got to be gone. Like, it needs to be left at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Period. Like, you can't go into this match. And admittedly, most of the rest of your matches for the next 2 months with that mindset, you have to go expecting 3 points. Period. Bar none.
Sabat said it himself. I asked him in the locker room, I mean, how do you get this out of your mind and move on? He said, we gotta 100% have to win, and that mindset has to be in the entire locker room, and that mindset needs to come from Pineda all the way on down. And yes, he can't be everywhere at one time. Yes, he can't give instructions to every single player on the field at one time. But yes, he is the coach. He sets the tone. He sets the tactics. He sets the mindset. And they absolutely have to start winning on the road. It has to start on Saturday against Chicago, because I mean they've shown these past 2 matches. These are 2 letdowns at home. Now you're dropping matches. I mean, you're already dropping points on the road. Now you're doing it at home. I mean, you can't afford to keep doing this. You gotta win somewhere. You gotta win games, and Chicago is a perfect opportunity for you to win games or win a game away from home. Like we just said, RSL beat them 4-0. Atlanta, maybe not. They don't have a player like Chicharito, admittedly, but at the same time, you should win.
I mean, you've got Giakoumakis that
Yeah.
should be starting, and you've got Almada.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Honestly, there's if RS, and I get it's soccer, so this is partially a joke, but there's no reason that Atlanta shouldn't go in and also beat them 4-0. Like, I understand 4-0 score lines are pretty rare.
Yeah.
But you have a better team than RSL by far.
Top to bottom, yeah.
Chicho Arango notwithstanding, but you still got players that are just as good, if not better. Arango's just doing his thing. But I just, man, you have no excuse. Not a single one. And I don't want to hear anything about, third, fourth string center backs. Like Luis Abram and Noah Cobb can handle business. They can. And they have to.
I don't know if Raul Hernandez can, though.
No. He shouldn't have been put in that position in the first place. Whatever. That's a different topic. I just feel like Efrain Morales should have been thrown in there just to see. But that's my opinion, and I understand why he didn't. But carry on.
I mean, anything else you want to finish up on this? I mean, who was your man? Just curious. Like, who was your man of the match for Atlanta United?
Slich.
Ditto.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get on that boat too.
I just feel like he's had 3 games in a row that he has come out of it completely shafted, because you should have won the past 3, because he had great games and he's doing everything you wanted out of a defensive midfielder that was brought in to replace what you didn't have at defensive mid last season. And you're still making dumb mistakes that cost you points. And that's frustrating.
Beautiful passes too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That man will sit there and hit dimes every single day in training when we're out there watching. That dude, like I told y'all in the beginning of the season, watch for that, that defensive mid pass out to Saba or Shande or whoever's making the run up the wing, whatever. He hits them every time. Hits them every freaking time. And he's unfortunately just not getting rewarded for all the hard work he's putting in.
Yeah.
I'm irritated about this match. I'm freaking irritated, man.
I was so excited because you were on Spaces and you were so angry. And it was like so excited just to like feel the anger coming out of you. It's like Palpatine. Yes, let the evil consume you.
Yeah, it makes me upset, man. It really pisses me off. Like you go and like you put in all this work week in and week out, and then because you have a lack of mental fortitude for 10 minutes every match, you blow it. You blow all that hard work. And the play, I talk about accountability, man. I'm getting worked up again. I talk about accountability, but the other players have to hold these other players' mistakes to a level of like accountability. You have to go and lay into somebody when they freaking screw up so badly. Again, mistakes are mistakes.
More than Brad.
Well, I mean, Brad will let everybody know.
I know. Be more than that.
Be Brad, even if you're Thiago Almada. Like, lay into somebody when they make a dumb mistake. communicate, get the word out, the things that your coach or whoever is trying to say on the sideline, communicate and just hold yourself and everybody else to a higher standard, period. Because right now the standard is not good enough.
Yeah.
Always dumb goals,
Get out
Matt.
here with the thumbs up. No.
Well,
there we go.
I have a question. You guys know who won't be with the team in Chicago on Saturday?
I know.
Who, Tommy?
Well, no, the question is, who won't be with the twos this weekend?
See, I tried to spin it in a little less harsh manner, but you had to dig at him a little bit more. But
Derek Etienne, he's gone. Traded. Gam. Let's go. Roster spot open. Am I too excited?
Roster spot open, by the way, because Rios is getting moved up. And yeah, it's a big time move. I mean, it needed to happen. Best of luck to Derek. I don't harbor any negative feelings for Derek at all. He just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And that crap happens.
It was a great move. Everybody, not Atlanta United fans. Like, you listen to anyone else, they said this team went out and that window, they went out and got Garth Lagerwey and they got Derek Etienne, and they said that they're having a fantastic winter. We were all excited. I mean, you look at it, analytics said that this guy was going to work out. He was going to be great. Had a career year coming off Columbus. He got paid. It didn't work out. And as much as I joke about Derek and all the other guys that haven't worked here, it just, they tried. It didn't work. And unfortunately, in a salary cap league, and when he's like a top 6, 7, paid player on this team, and now he's playing for the twos, like, you got to go. You got to get out of here.
And he was highly sought after. Like, that's the thing I got to keep hammering into people. Like,
that's why we paid him so much.
Yes, there was a lot of teams that really wanted him. Sometimes you just don't work at that team, and it be what it be. You just got to move on. And credit to the front office for highway robbery, in my opinion. I think it works out quite well for Atlanta. Now, I understand they're still paying, salary, but whatever. Like, that's not that big of a deal. It still frees you up options, which you did not have as of yesterday.
For sure. I mean, it's hard to put your finger on why this didn't work. I feel like there are kind of some bad signs from the beginning when he came to camp carrying that injury. And I don't know if we're really sure what that injury was. It was something to do with the
ankle,
leg.
I think.
Leg or ankle. It's kind of a bad sign.
But they knew that.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like it'd hold him out for as long as it did, or have an effect as long as it did. I mean, he eventually came into the team. He eventually got himself into the starting lineup. But guys, after Leagues Cup, after the international break, he didn't start one match. Not one. And I think when they signed Saba, I think when they signed Shande, that kind of was your first thought that, okay, maybe this move wasn't the best move. That was kind of the signal of intent of where this team was going. And he didn't play much down the stretch. We saw Mosquera out there. We saw Wolf out there more. So I think that really was the beginning of the end. The latter portion of the season, he barely played in the playoffs. But yeah, it's just an unfortunate move. I think the word that Carlos used in the press release was fresh start. And essentially, this is a fresh start for both teams. And the best move for both teams for sure. Derek gets a chance to go to a team where maybe they're not in the best situation right now, but they have a new coach still putting in his ideas and his tactics, and they're showing some progress. Atlanta frees up some roster space, and they get a player off the books that will cost you, not super high TAM, but still TAM nonetheless, over 600K. So, like I said, it frees you up to make a move later in the summer. So it really was the best move for both parties. And like Tommy, you were saying, he was a player in demand in that 2022 heading to 2023 free agency period, and they brought him on with the hopes that he could replicate what he could do with the crew, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out. That's not really an indictment on the front office, I think, but it just didn't work, and hopefully Derek can find that extra gear. That he's still 26, 27 years old, so he's not young, but he's not old either. But hopefully for him, his best days are ahead of him. He still has a place on the Haitian national team as well. So good at him in getting this opportunity, but unfortunately just didn't work for Atlanta United.
And then, so we're retaining a certain. Was there an actual number of like how much we're retaining? Was it? I thought I saw like 75% or something like that.
Yeah, I don't Not think confirmed. It was mentioned in the press release. I know it's talking about Atlanta got $200K in GAM in 2020 GAM for 2025, mind you. It could be $175K more. So you hit certain numbers, so could get up to 375. Still have another, still have part of that salary for 2024 on your books, I think, but not as much. I mean, that still frees up what, like a couple $100,000, something like that.
You would think so.
You still get a pretty decent player for that amount of money. So,
and you're retaining less next year, so you are retaining money next season, from my understanding, but they're just retaining less of it. So you get a little bit more back next year as well, and. We're not sure, 100% sure whether the buyout option's, going to be there or not. But now you are in that situation where you don't have to buy him out, right? And if there is somebody else that you need to move on from, then you might be able to at some point. I mean, we'll see. But I think it's a good move for Atlanta United because I think that's the summer, at least looking at the window right now on where we're at. You're going to need to make some improvements here. What's going to happen? Is Silva going to improve, right? Do you need some depth at wing? Are there, God forbid, any more injuries? Are you trying to make a run? And I think that's what makes everyone so nervous about this team right now, because you have had Almada for the past couple of years, right? And you haven't been able to make that run. You weren't even able to make the playoffs. Then you made the playoffs. You get eliminated in 3. Almada wasn't even available for one of those games because of his own fault. But, I mean, he wasn't there. And now you want to make this run. And now fans are frustrated because they're thinking, oh, my God, if let's just say Pineda's gone in the summer. Or, God forbid, you know what, we're just going to hold on to Pineda and just, we'll replace him, at the end of the year. That's the easiest path to resistance. Yeah, but you're losing another window of potentially winning, right? Of making a run at a trophy. And I think the fans have been frustrated since 2020. They want to run. They want a game. They want these big games. And, I know the playoff game was fun that we had here, but that wasn't a playoff atmosphere. I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was on a Wednesday or Tuesday night or whatever it was. The Benz was not even fully open. Let's get that single elimination conference final at the Benz, let's get that big game. Let's bring that atmosphere back. Go back and look at that Red Bulls, game, where, the whole stadium was just packed out, right? 70,000 people. That's what you're aiming for, to get back and to get everyone there. And I think it's just, you started off the season hot, people were getting great, and now everybody's like, crap, we're back to exactly what we've been doing for the past couple of years. Literally everything that's been happening of the past couple of games. And I feel like I've jinxed it because I kept saying oh, well, this hasn't happened. The individual mistakes aren't there. Well, now the individual mistakes are there. The silly, turning off for 4 minutes and allowing quick goals. It's been happening. And I think that's what it brings, the truth out, but then it also brings the trolls out even more. And there's a lot of, and that's, there's trolls out there about it. You know what I mean? They're just going to look at one person. They're not, like you said, though, not just blame the players. They're just going to blame Pineda, or they're going to blame, Almada or something. It's a combination of everything, and they got to get it fixed. And it starts with Chicago. They have to win in Chicago.
I agree.
Start talking about Chicago here?
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, we're a quarter of the way through the season, which, by the way, Tommy, what do we – this is a good segue. What are we doing after this?
We're for our patrons, we are recording a quarter season review. That should be fun.
Oh,
That's why I've been having a few more drinks because I want to just be loose for that.
Pace yourself.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Pace yourself.
It'll be fun.
No, you don't pace yourself for this.
Coming in hot.
There's highs and there's lows. There's highs and there's lows.
You know, we're a quarter of the way through, and I have not said it this year. I can almost tell you the date last year, the last time I said this. Winning cures everything. And I saw it pop up. I don't know who said it on Twitter, but I saw it pop up, and it's something that's kind of I've had the thought, and I almost didn't want to admit it to myself, but right now the biggest how I got to figure out how to word this. The biggest, I guess, star / point of pride that Atlanta United has at this moment in time and has for the past 4 years is the fact that the fans show up week in and week out, and the attendance blows the doors off of every other team in this league, period. That's great, and I freaking love it, and I don't think it's going anywhere, but it, even by Atlanta standards, it could be better. It could be way better. And the way you make that better is by winning. You're playing fun soccer, except for when you switch off for 10 minutes and blow leads. You're playing fun soccer. You're playing soccer that gets people off their feet and creates a fun environment, a loud environment. You're doing all the stuff, except the mindset is killing you. And like I said multiple times on Saturday, I am so glad I was not at that game. I go to every home game because I'm there in the press box. We were doing our anniversary stuff this weekend. We actually extended our day at the hotel just to have some fun, get away from things for a little bit, but we still watched the game. And I'm so glad I did not cut anything short to go to this match. I would have been even more pissed than I am now. But that's me as media and a lover.
How does that conversation start, Tyler? Like you guys are on your anniversary weekend, and like you just say, "Baby, let's stay in and just watch Atlanta United play."
It wasn't quite like that, but it was, hey, let's stay at this fun place.
We don't need the Chicago Fire. We got our own fire.
Yeah, you're dang right we do.
Have to see who?
Yeah, right. The Union what?
Right.
No, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, you, as fans, you go into these matches and like you're expecting something at home at least, and you're bringing. It's not like other clubs. Like you're bringing families, you're bringing kids that are falling in love with the game. You're bringing people that have been ride or die with you for the past 10 years since this club was founded. And you go out and you do something like that. And you should be embarrassed. And you should feel bad. Not to be a dick, but you should feel bad that you let 42,000 people walk out of there having watched that kind of performance.
Because You're back.
80 minutes. I know.
You're doing it again. You're doing it again.
80 minutes of solid soccer and 10 minutes kill you every time.
Yeah.
Every time. So, yes.
You did this bit already.
I don't care. I'm doing it again. I'm trying to drive home a point, all right? I'm trying to channel my inner what I want Pineda to do to the team.
I've seen this one.
These fans and these little kids and the family members and the people who have heard all about the Atlanta United atmosphere, something to want to come back to, because you had the attendance. You always will have the attendance, I'm sure, but don't F that up by giving a subpar product out on the pitch that literally shoots itself in the foot. Shoots itself. It's not like you're a crappy team, like, and you just suck. Like, you're not the Chicago Fire that can't put 5 people in the seats. Sorry, Chicago fans. You're not that.
Jeez, I love this.
Are a good team.
Sorry, Vancouver. We're not making fun of you anymore.
They're a good team this year, too. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. If you get beat, you get beat. Don't beat yourself. I'm freaking done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yes.
You know, me saying that to you reminded me that on our wedding anniversary.
A year and a half of doing this show, by the way.
I know. You're usually not like this.
Nope.
Bringing up your wedding anniversary reminded me, we got a hotel room a while back downtown, and I was watching she was getting ready, and I was watching the game on my phone. She's like, "Are we going?" And I go, "I just got to see the end of this game." That was the only game where Eric Lopez scored a goal. And I remember for like 2 days, I go, just remember, we could have went out early, but we would have missed Eric Lopez's goal, not knowing that was going to be his only goal. That was a banger.
That's what happened.
It was a banger.
Great.
I mean, I got to see Almada score the first open play goal of the season, and we were for 2 minutes. We were on top of the world. This was great.
They were buzzing after that, and you could feel maybe there's a second goal in it. But I mean,
but then you just had to take a short corner. I'm not even going to get started on a short corner.
No, we're not doing it. I think there is absolutely shit. There's no way this team loses on Saturday. There's no way.
You going
there is no way that Atlanta United loses in Chicago. That's why I'm so happy, because two things are going to happen. Either they're going to win, and I'm going to say I told you so, and I'm going to be happy, or they are going to lose this game, and I'm staying away from Spaces. I'm staying away because it's going to be insane. We will be on there until next week, the next game. Like, they are going to win. And yeah, Omar, not even if the win scores on them.
Right.
Atlanta United. I just saw on Facebook Memories the other day. Like, it was a picture, like I reposted, because I like to go back and look to see what happened. It was like the picture, all of them in the locker room, like after a win. I think it was like in Columbus or something. I was like, man, I miss those locker room pictures where it just looks like everybody's happy. Nagby's got his shoe that's acting like a phone in there. Like, those are the things that I want. I want to see the locker room picture, right? There is no way that Pineda in this team Pineda knows that the seat's hot. He has to know after this. He said it all with the line we read earlier today. Like, he seemed hot, and he finally seemed to call out the players here. The players have to be embarrassed on the last couple games at the way that they played. You're going to play a team that you just beat. They are going to win, and I guarantee that this team wins. And if they don't, I will shave my beard off. Now you're going to say, "Oh, Tommy, that's not a big thing." It is, because my wife won't touch me if I don't have a beard. She won't go near me. She says I look like my father, and I told her that I was doing this, and she said, "All right, dry spell. So you better hope that they win." So here I am. I am guaranteeing that Atlanta United does, and if not, I'll shave my beard on the show on Wednesday. Grab a little thing right here, and I'll just start shaving it. That's what's going to happen.
There are a lot.
I'm not shaving my eyebrows, Edgar.
We could go after hearing that bit of news, but just know that it is on tape. It is recorded.
The receipts are there.
You have no way of backing out.
That's fine. I'm ready. I'm fine. None of you have seen me without a beard. That's creepy.
I've never seen you without a beard,
Matt. So if we lose, Tommy goes celibate for 3 weeks.
It is. See, yeah. See, he understands what's going on here. And when you go see Pineda tomorrow, you let him know that I look really dumb without a beard.
Don't do this to anybody.
Maybe withhold that information from him, Tyler.
I'm not shaving my head, Omar. We're not going that extreme.
Hey, if we win MLS Cup, I'll do it.
You'll do what? Shave your beard?
Yeah. If Atlanta wins MLS Cup, absolutely.
You got to go higher than that. I mean, you can shave your beard.
I'm just going to beat Chicago, guys. We're not going MLS Cup or whatever, like getting the conference finals. All we got to do is beat Chicago. That's all we need to do. And we're heavily on, like, as far as like go to Vegas. Like, we're plus 200 to win this game. That is insane.
Yeah.
Considering looking at these two teams, like a road game, like a road team's usually like plus 125, plus 150-ish if you know the gambling terms there. Plus 200 is a pretty extreme just to get a win. It's not to win by 2. It's just to win in general. So Vegas does not believe in us anymore. They don't believe Pineda can get a win on the road. I'm hoping to take advantage of this. I hope I win money and I have a beard and I can shower you out. I'll get what I win all in singles and I'll still have this beautiful beard. They are winning.
Tyler said earlier that Larry could win 4-0. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but
I mean, I know they can. They can. Matt saying you've hit rock bottom when you're shaving body parts for beating Chicago.
Because I've already heard it. Like, I've already heard people saying Atlanta's not going to win this game. Atlanta's not. It will be. I'm full Pineda out if they lose this game. Full on. I've been Pineda curious for way too long. I am Pineda. If they do not win this game in Chicago, I understand. And I don't believe in the Zilf came in earlier and said, you know, they haven't won in Chicago since 2018 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't believe in stadiums. You know, you can't win in a specific stadium, all of that. I do understand the winning hard in MLS or winning on the road in MLS is a thing, but like, this is a game that you have to win. You have to win this game. It's going to send this team into a very bad place. You know, probably internally, outside the fan base is already chirping.
Yeah.
But again, you've lost against you drew and you lost against 2 good teams. I get that. Your road games after this are not easy at all. I know, like, one's Nashville that's coming up here. Like, you might not get a road win.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, you're going to Cincinnati, Nashville, Miami. And then DC in June.
Penalty, by the way.
Who did?
The Twos. I'm just keeping an eye on this Chattanooga match.
No. But yeah, the next in June, like, you have Washington and St. Louis. Like, maybe DC. Like, maybe that's the one that you finally get it. No, you get it this Saturday. Sound like a wrestler. This Saturday.
Yeah, kind of
at Soldier Field.
You kind of promo
in front of the millions and the 20 fans in Chicago that will be there in the Windy City.
You gotta stop making fun of Chicago.
He started. I've been making fun of Vancouver. I forget they're a team.
You have to win this match. Like, they're not a good team. Objectively, they're not a good team. Like, I don't know what it's just, that's how it is. Like, they are not a good team. You're like $11 million player DP probably won't even play anyway. Admittedly, they're
2 goals,
probably better without him. They're not a good team. I don't care that you're playing at Soldier Field. I don't care that you're playing and you have Mother Nature as the 12th man. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. You're a better team. Go win. Period. I think it's that simple.
I agree.
Well, what are your feelings on this game, Sydney?
My feelings? I think I've made my feelings already known. I mean, you have to win. You have to win. You know, RSL, you know, we keep going back to that example of them winning 4-0 on the road. There's, I forgetting another match that was played on the road that same night where the road team won. Pulling it up right now because it slips my mind, escapes my memory. But, you know, just looking back at last weekend, Minnesota went to Charlotte and beat Charlotte 3-0. Vancouver went to Seattle, beat Seattle 2-0. Austin went to Houston and beat Houston 1-0. So Cincinnati, I mean, beat Atlanta 2-1 at home. So it's not impossible to win. Maybe it's a little bit difficult, more difficult at home because you have so many variables going against you with opposing crowds and travel and all that. But it's not impossible to win at home. We saw 4 examples right there of the road team coming into an away stadium and taking care of business. So maybe in a funny way, Atlanta can look at that and say, hey, Cincinnati beat us on our turf. We can do the same to Chicago. We can kind of take out our frustrations against the Chicago team that has been boiling over since the Philadelphia match, and keep burying them, keep pushing them down the table. Like I said, they're not a good team. They're 13th. They're not last, but they have Nashville and New England below them. So, I mean, they've gotten some results, but not enough. And there's a lot of discussion in Chicago about whether their head coach needs to resign. Their head coach, Frank Klopas, is really a fire lifer. Was brought in as the interim head coach for Ezra Hendrickson when Ezra Hendrickson was fired last year. And Klopas is a lifer for that organization, and they promoted him to the head coaching gig beginning of the season or toward the latter end of last season. A lot of people are saying, hey, does he need to step aside and let the organization, let the club do a full search of someone who can really get the best out of this team? We already mentioned Kuipers, who's just been in poor form ever since he came in with Chicago. Shaqiri, who hasn't really come good at all since he signed with Chicago. I mean, they have Kellen DaCosta, who is a good signing for them. They have, of course, Andrew Gutman, who we know he's capable of. Chris Brady, a good, young goalkeeper. Not the best young goalkeeper in MLS by any stretch, but could be on the Olympic roster. I mean, you should win. You should win. I really think you should win. And I think, yes, Tommy, the seat does get hotter for Pineda if this team can't win in Chicago on Saturday. I really think it does. Does the team make a move on the next day or Monday? I don't think they will, but like I said, the heat does get turned up that much more if this team can't win on Saturday against Chicago.
So this got brought up in a conversation yesterday with Henry, who, by the way, wrote a really good article on Javier Armas, who just scored the penalty in the twos versus Chattanooga. So go check that out over on scribesandspikes.com if you haven't yet. He's the butter man, by the way, in case you were wondering. He's the one that puts butter in the coffee, and his recipe is on the article. Scale of 1 to 10, how hot is that seat right now? And how hot is it if they do not win? I say do not win, not lose. Do not win after the fact. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being crispy.
Like 7.5 or 8.
That's saying it might be on fire.
Well, before. Right now, you mean?
Yeah, right now and then after.
I say like 5, 6 right now. I think if they lose on Saturday, say that gets up to 7 or 8. I really do. And you have to ask some really serious questions about whether he sees out this season, barring a turnaround. And I don't want to. I don't say turnaround like they're in dire straits, but they got to get some results. And yeah, I think needs to happen. Needs to happen. So fans will be I feel very justified. If Atlanta lose against Chicago, I think.
I mean, it could be I know it won't for Pineda, but I mean, you could go. I mean, it could go the other way. You can go get the Chicago coach fired. Another embarrassing loss at home.
So I don't think he'll get fired. He may feel for the best of the team. Says again, he's a lifetime fire player / coach. He may feel it's time to step aside and let somebody else do the job. So
potato, whatever.
Yeah, he loses his spot regardless.
You lose 3-0. Say you lose 2-0 or 3-0 after just losing 4-0 at home. Yeah, be gone.
Yeah,
we'd be saying the same thing if it was Pineda.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
we've said it a couple times.
That's what I was thinking too. If it's a blowout, if they get blown out in Chicago, I don't think they will. But if they get blown out in Chicago, I think he's gone by Monday. I really think he is, because now you'll have blown 2 matches at home, then gone on the road and just crap the bed. So I think if they get blown out, you're gonna have to have a very convincing argument if you're Pineda to bring you back for the next game, because that's gonna be inexcusable to get blown out against that team.
And like I said, Matt, what about a draw? Sorry, I was gonna say no draw. No, there's no draw in this game at all. It's a win. You need a win, and it's gonna be even more frustrating if you blow a lead. And I've never thought I'd be saying this, but get Dax McCarty in there. If you're up, get Dax McCarty in this game. I understand you like the kids, all right? I get it. I know that you like Fortune. I know that, but you know what? Sometimes you just need some experience out there. And right now, the players that you have aren't playing like they're players with experience. They're making silly mistakes. Dax was supposed to bring leadership. Ozzie Alonso was supposed to bring leadership. Ozzie was hurt. The team played really damn good when Ozzie Alonso was out there. Not many games, but that small sample size, it was a hell of a pickup. You have not played this man that much. Can't believe I'm going for Dax McCarty at this point, but that's what you need to do. You need to get some experience out. You need to get a leader out on that field for this. I understand you still have some young players, but you have more experienced players out there as well. If that's what it takes to get someone in there, great. I like Fortune. I like everything that he's provided when he's come in. I get it. But you know what? Maybe you just need a general out there as well in the midfield if you're up a goal. If we win this game 1-0, I'm not going to complain about it. That was only a 1-0 win. It means that you got a clean sheet and you ended up winning. But like that's it. I don't care what the final score is, as long as it's a win.
Yeah, I would be incredibly happy with a 1-0 win, because that shows that you scored goals in a difficult environment, but you held out against pressure. Like, a win's a win. You give me a win plus a clean sheet on the road, now we're cooking. That would be an even bigger step in the right direction. I don't care how you win, though. I don't care if it's 3-2. You find a way to scrap out a win, you got the win on the road. But it has to be a win. Has to be a win.
Yeah, I don't think we can be too picky about what kind of win it is, as long as it's a win,
But a clean sheet gives Noah Cobb and Luis Abram some confidence.
Understood. But at the same time, 100%. At the same time, this team has won 5 times away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium since 2022.
It's been 9 games since they last won away.
Yeah, that's inexcusable, and this team has to get over this mental block of not being able to win away from home. Throughout all the excuses, throughout all the, you're missing players. Yeah, if your top 4 attackers, if your entire attack should be available on Saturday. If both midfielders should be available on Saturday. You have emerging young center back. Hopefully he's available, and all the best to Noah. Hopefully he's fine. You have
he should be good. He was the first one out of the training ground yesterday. So.
Perfect. You have a perfectly capable you have perfectly capable player back there. Hopefully you get Williams back pretty soon. I don't know if he's been training, Tyler. Hopefully get by himself. Hopefully you get him back soon. Then you have Caleb Wiley and Lennon, your outside backs. I mean, you have your core players out there. How is that team gonna lose to Chicago? How's that team gonna lose to Chicago? Just in my mind, you have no excuses really.
They're not going to.
Don't.
They're winning.
You can't say Chicago's a good team because they aren't a good team. And that's harsh to Chicago, but this is not a good team.
It's true though. It's not like this is an opinion. Like, the numbers tell a story. They suck.
Man, when I trash talk teams, you all yell at me. What the hell is going? What world are we in right now? Anytime I talk trash about they're not bad. Oh, Adam John sucks. No, Adam John doesn't suck. Now you guys are all trashing the teams, and you're all fine with it.
What day is it?
We're going to be like, they're going to play this before the game in the Hi Chicago Fire. What's up? They're going to play this in the locker room and go, these three nobodies all say we suck.
And you know what I have to say about that?
And I heard Sydney hates Chicago the most. I read that on the bathroom floor. That's what I read. I read he hates the entire city of Chicago. He hates deep dish pizza, everything. Sydney hates them. He hates Almada too, but we won't talk about that.
Deep dish pizza is soup.
Okay.
Oh, get out of here. Deep dish pizza is great.
Yes,
get out of here. Get out of here.
Chicago is a wonderful city.
Oh, it's too doughy for you?
No, it needs to be doughy.
It's like lasagna.
Right. I could have lasagna.
I'm Italian. I like both.
No, and Justin, yeah, he's saying you guys are adding fuel to Chicago.
No, I hope
Atlanta goes back.
You messed it up. You're supposed to be. You are adding fuel to the fire. Like I get Chicago would have been cooler. Exactly. Justin, missed opportunity. We're sorry.
That's a miss.
Dang.
That's a miss.
Right.
You missed it.
No, fine. We're adding fuel to the fire. Screw them. I hope Atlanta goes back and watches the first part of this and uses it in the freaking locker room and says, hey, look at these three idiots who don't know what they're talking about, but they think y'all are making dumb mistakes. Now go stop me. I don't care what you do. Don't lose this freaking match. And Chicago, yes, you do suck. The numbers say it. Numbers don't lie.
Well, not as bad as like New England, anything like that.
New England sucks too.
Yeah, New England is
Jesus.
Very bad. Very bad.
That's me without a beard in high school. Like that. Pineda, this is what you want? This is what you want me to look like? I mean, I gained some weight. This is what you want, Pineda? No. Win. Win. I'm gonna mail the hair. Mail the hair if we lose. That's gonna get me arrested. Like that's like people that were sending Kesha their teeth.
Oh my God.
What?
You didn't know that? Like Kesha,
Nope.
when she was like in a mental institution, she was asking like her listeners to send teeth.
Why?
I don't know. I love Kesha though.
That's like, well, see, there's that website where you can go and send like, we're past 8:00 now.
Are we talking about feet pictures again?
No.
Okay. Just
where you can go and send varieties of animal dung to people in the mail, and it's completely legal.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with Scarves and Spike.
Predictions.
Everybody, get your predictions in now. This is going downhill. Get your predictions in the chat. Let's read them over. Let's call it a night.
While you do that, Noah Cobb came out yesterday. He should be good to go. Again,
Beautiful.
Back to being the first one out onto the pitch. Shande Silva trained running by himself. Don't expect him to start, but he'll probably see time again. Derek Williams training by himself. He's out running. Looked okay. Almost guaranteed to not play, though. And then who else? Deion Gregerson played. 80% of the training sessions yesterday. So, again, I don't expect him to start, but maybe you can use him if you need to. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, Jamal Tiare. I think Jamal Tiare is training by himself as well, but recovering quickly, which is good.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Cool.
Well, Matt's got 2-0 Atlanta. Tommy keeps his beard. Justin, I know what you're coming up with, a 2-2 draw. I will be very disappointed in that. Omar, 3-2 fire. What, Omar? Jack, 3-1. Atlanta win. I like it.
Cool.
Axlo, 3-1 Atlanta. I'm liking these. I'm liking these predictions. I'm feeling better here.
All right. Let's see.
Well,
Edgar,
before we
3-0 win.
Before we move forward, or before we move on, and left these predictions by the way, we have our special guest with us.
We do.
Tommy,
we do.
If you want to introduce them to everybody.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see him down there. I apologize.
Yeah, bring him on in.
Nate Bukaty, MLS season pass. Want to let him in? I
There we go.
I've already hit the button once. Last time I hit the button, I broke something.
Nate, we're having some serious technical difficulties today.
Well, that actually makes me feel good because I like over a half an hour late joining you. I had my days wrong. For some reason, I thought I was supposed to do this tomorrow. So 100 apologies to you guys about being late. I'm sorry.
It is all good.
Oh, welcome in. No, glad you can make it, though. Thanks for coming on.
Like, I don't know if you can see, like, Tommy looks like he's in the Matrix right now.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I'm going to try and fix this. I'll be right back. Thank you. I'll be right back. Let me see if I can get this to work.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Nice.
I'm at the CBS headquarters. I'm doing a little guest hosting on their nighttime show on the Golazo Network with Chris Whittingham this week.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw your tweet with them on the desk. So, yeah. How's that going?
Oh, it's a blast, man. I mean, the people out here, what's cool about it is, the American soccer community, we're robust, but there's not as many of us as hopefully there will be someday.
Right.
And so it's awesome being in a building where you're surrounded by other people that are as passionate about the game as you are. I'm walking down to a studio. It's a little quieter, so hopefully it'll sound better.
Hey, we like the show and tell. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Are we on right now?
Yeah. You're
cool. Cool. Well, here, you might, I don't know, maybe your audience will like this a little bit.
Oh,
this
is
the desk where, we got a little backdrop here. You got the PSG stadium in the background.
Very nice.
Our cameras here, and there's the front of the desk. So
very nice.
We're going to get ready to settle in for some CONCACAF Champions Cup action and, do the highlights of that here in a little bit. So, so again, I'm really sorry I was late for you guys.
You're all good. So
we appreciate it.
I
actually wanted to ask you, because this is perfect timing, but what are the matches looking like in terms of, obviously this is an Atlanta podcast, but we have folks from MLS and we cover a lot of other stuff as well, but Champions Cup, what's it looking like for you tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a good game. The thing about Columbus, I think most of us would agree that they played the most attractive style of soccer in Major League Soccer last year. You're not supposed to root, the position where I'm sitting, but I think you do kind of find yourself rooting for attractive soccer to win, right? Like you want it to be entertaining and fun. A huge Wilfred Nancy fan and just his ideas about the game. And obviously, when you're playing one of those giants down the big clubs in Mexico and the two sides from the city of Monterrey, it's an uphill battle, right? They're just an economic situation that we don't have in Major League Soccer, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I mean, I'm really excited to sit down and watch this one.
The Crew have been a really terrific team, of course, winning MLS Cup last year. And, like you, I'm very impressed with what Nancy has done, really impressed with what he did in the last round, getting them through against a really formidable Mexican side. And, they may have it all to do against Monterrey, but, what you've been against them the way that they've been playing, really since Nancy has got there, right?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't. I think we saw, when we saw in Leagues Cup last year as well, that the top teams in Major League Soccer can compete. Now, here's the situation. Sometimes I was the play-by-play announcer for Sporting Kansas City for 8 years, and in 2019, we went down there. I got to go to the stadium, where Monterrey plays, which everybody has seen a million times because they always show that iconic picture with the
beautiful,
the mountains in the background. And Sporting plays a free-flowing style. They possession-based style. They get their fullbacks up the field. They did that. They tried to do that at Monterrey, and they got put to the sword. They are the type of side that can carve you open if you are not, positionally sound. If you're not ready, to do the active defending that you need to do, if you're going to try to play like that. So, I mean, I think that Columbus, they won't be naive about it. I think they'll know, and at home it's a little bit different, but they'll know how to pick and choose their spots. So I think, like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it.
So before we get to the Atlanta Chicago stuff, which I know Tommy will kick us off with in a second, but we were actually at MLS Cup last year, and I think one of the things that stood out to me watching that team in person and talking with Nancy after was how disciplined they are. So it's interesting you speak about how Monterrey can absolutely do work on a team if they're not disciplined. I think if there's one team in MLS that could give them trouble and has at least shown that they can, it's going to be Columbus for sure.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think, look, they're disciplined, but they cause problems for you, right? I mean, I actually was listening to you guys in your post-match coverage of the last game that Atlanta had, and talking about creating certain overloads in certain parts of the pitch and being able to make adjustments through the course of a game. And I think if you get a chance to spend time around Wilfried Nancy and you hear him talk about his ideas of the game, they will have tactics, that they're ready to employ. He gets the most out of his players too. They buy in. But it is going to take that part where, okay, you're in possession, but you're actively defending so that if you do lose possession, you're not caught out in positions where you're going to be made to pay. Because we know Brandon Vasquez, we saw what he could do in Major League Soccer, and then you put him on a team like Monterrey, and it's even gone to another level. It's pretty impressive.
We're intimately familiar with Vasquez, man. He was our Open Cup hero a few years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Nate, we've been stressing. It's been a very stressful couple of weeks for Atlanta United. We blew a lead, a 2-goal lead. We drew with Philadelphia, which felt like a loss, and then we actually did lose. And the fans are looking for someone to blame, right? Is it the players? Mm-hmm. Is it Pineda? I don't know. I'm always interested to see how others feel about Pineda and the job he's doing. Do you think that as far as and sorry, I'm all over the place now at this point. We got ourselves worked up before this. I say that there's going into this game that there is no chance Atlanta United loses. Now I know there's a chance. I know that there is, but this team is terrible on the road. But they're playing Chicago. They need this win. I think for the team, for the coach, for the players, for everything. I'm betting my beard. If Atlanta United loses, I'm shaving this whole thing off.
Okay.
Am I going to have a beard on Sunday?
Well, first of all, I need to know what kind of an investment are we talking about here. I mean, it doesn't look like you've been growing that beard for too long. I mean,
I trim.
Okay. How long have you been carrying this beard?
Well, my wife won't go near me if I don't have a beard, so it's been a long time.
Well, it's the opposite for me, man. I've tried to go beard a couple times, and then my wife won't go near me. So good for you. Okay, well, I guess they better win then, right? There's a lot riding on this. Look, I will say this right off the bat. You guys are going to be more familiar with you probably hear this from everybody that's in my position. You're going to be more familiar with what's going on with Atlanta United than I am. I haven't done an Atlanta United game yet this year. I had them a bunch last year. So I've been watching their matches here, getting caught up on things. And I listened to you guys after this past match against Cincinnati when you felt like you gave the game away, right? That was kind of the takeaway. The last couple games is silly giveaways in bad positions have kind of negated some really good soccer that's being played. And I wanted to ask you guys about this because I would love to have this conversation. You guys talked about the statistics of added goals, I believe, and talked about how I think Atlanta are leading Major League Soccer in this category, and that can be more predictive even sometimes than XG, which is a stat that we love to throw around like crazy these days. I don't know what to make of stats like that. One thing that I find really interesting is that the goals added criteria does not involve actual goals, right? They don't matter. Those are considered more like a random act. But I'll ask you guys this. If Giakoumakis is on the pitch, how many more goals are scored versus if he's not on the pitch? I don't personally believe that goals are as random maybe as the statistical models say that they are. And maybe the statistical person would tell me, well, yeah, that's kind of the whole point. The point is we're playing good soccer. And if we have the guy out there that's actually finishes at a high rate, then the score will be more reflective of the way we've played. So I guess this is a really big roundabout way for me saying, from a 30,000 foot viewpoint, if you have your guys out on the pitch that you need and continue to play the style of soccer that you've played this year, is it logical to believe that everything's actually okay and it's not as bad as it seems? I'm curious what you guys think of that.
Well, I would say to that, I feel that, even with Giakoumakis out there, even with Almada out there, I feel like the problems of holding leads have persisted with this team. And it has persisted really for maybe not just the portion of better part of Pineda's tenure, but before that too. This team, whether you blame it Pineda or not, it's just unable to see leads out, and they just have a mental fragility that prevents them from seeing leads out. I mean, they were up 2-0 on Philadelphia. That was without Giakoumakis. They were up 1-0 against Cincinnati. Again, without Giakoumakis starting, but he came on later, and Almada had a golazo. But that's pretty much the story of this team over the past 2 years, especially. Just this inability to see matches out, and it's just affected them on the standings to a drastic level. And I think the big question is, is this team, is Pineda the right fit? Can he get this team mentally right? And that's the question that we're kind of asking ourselves, the three of us, but among the fan base too.
And I also think it's a really good question, and I like it coming from kind of an outside perspective, because sometimes like fresh eyes are really, really good to clarify things. And I think it's interesting because, you talk about Giakoumakis coming on. The thing that broke the match, that kind of kicked off the bad luck, I guess, if you want to call it that, on against Cincy, was Almada playing that bad corner, made a mistake, whatever, mental mistake. But he did it right when Yorgos Giakoumakis was subbed on. He was subbed on. The next play was that corner kick. And instead of just putting the ball into the box, where you have the biggest aerial threat, one of the best aerial threats, one of the best goal scorers in MLS, just whipping into the box and seeing what he can do, because Almada can put the ball on a dime. That's not an issue. You try to do something fancy, you take a mental break for a second, and you get punished. And I think that's where there's just a running theme, and it's given Atlanta fans a little bit of PTSD over the past couple of years, because Atlanta doesn't play bad soccer for 90 minutes. They're not a bad team. They just check out for very short amounts of time in a match, and then they get punished in the worst possible way. And that's where we're at. And I think you didn't have it when you had guys like Stian Gregerson and Derek Williams, who are veterans of the game in general, at the back line. And then you have injuries, and you got to bring in Noah Cobb and Luis Abram at the center back position. And they're good players, but I think you're missing a little bit of leadership back there that helps kind of organize things. And then you end up giving up goals in silly ways like you did last year. And that's kind of, I think, where the narrative has been the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying in that regard, and I think it's interesting because you look at Atlanta, they've given up 9 goals on the season, right? It's not a bad defensive record. And one of the first things I do when I start getting ready for a match I'm about to call, I look at the overall team situation first. Where are they at in the standings? What's their recent run of form like? Goals for, goals against, what type of style? I look at all those things, and I'm like, okay, 9 goals conceded. It's actually one of the better marks in the Eastern Conference. That doesn't sound like a team that's blowing leads, but then when you dig into match by match, what you guys are talking about, it sounds a little bit like some game management naivety from time to time, right? Like what you're talking about is, another side that I'm very familiar with that's going through this right now is Sporting Kansas City. Yeah. They score goals, they play good stuff. And then you're like, how are they not able to just put their, take the air out of the ball a little bit, right? Sometimes, and just protect a lead. It should be one of the easier things to do in the game. So certainly Atlanta United's not the only team, but when you guys talk about, is this the fault of Pineda? Is it the fault of the team? First of all, in what I do for a living, I'm not qualified to sit here and tell you the answers to that. But what it does sound like to me is when I listen to you guys talk, when you don't have consistency on your back line and you don't have a veteran presence to anchor things on your back line, that seems like exactly what the natural consequence can be sometimes, right? Now, what's interesting is like, okay, Thiago Almada is only 22 years old. Yeah. So maybe we should give him some grace that even as talented as he is, as wonderful of a player as he is, his vision, everything that you guys see on a week in, week out basis, perhaps he's still learning some of those game management type things. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Maybe the answer to him should be, hey, you're at the point now, you've got enough games under your belt. You shouldn't be making these types of mistakes at this point. If you want to be, because what the talk has always been, this man's going to bring a bigger transfer fee than anybody that's ever played in Major League Soccer. If you want to get to that point, that's the next step. You have to be one of the calming forces on the field that helps us manage the situation and see it out. And I would just put it this way, though. You guys know this league, it is, you guys got spoiled. You know that, right? Like the way that things started in Atlanta. And I know you don't want to hear that probably from people on the outside, but it was so, you were so good right off the bat. Dominant, explosive, just kicking everyone's ass. And that's not like LAFC is kind of learning now that it isn't like that in this league. You can't just dominate year after year. And in this league, most of the time, you're going to go through stretches where almost every team goes through stretches where the fans want to pull their hair out with their team. So I'm not trying to tell you that there's no reason to be upset or anything like that. What's that now?
I said, or cut it off and make a bet.
or shave your beard, I guess is the appropriate term now. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You sounded just like Frank DeBoer there. Frank DeBoer a while back said that they were supposed, and they went after him. They went after him, Nate.
Oh God, I got to be careful, don't I?
I'm glad this game's not in Atlanta. Glad it's not in Atlanta.
Do you guys think look, and I mean that as a positive. I mean, you guys had one of the greatest teams we've ever seen right off the bat.
Yeah, Nate. I'll step in front of the bullet for you because I've said it on the show a couple of times. Atlanta has been spoiled, and I think all Atlanta fans want to be that team that breaks that kind of quote unquote curse, right? Where it's like you want to build a dynasty. You've got teams like Seattle that are the closest thing to a dynasty that MLS has had, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Atlanta fans came in so hot and still support the team so well. I mean, you look at the attendance, we were talking about it earlier, but they want to be the team that consistently is good year in and year out and competitive and maybe a little more dominant than anybody else has been. And I think that's where the mindset is. But it is tough. You're absolutely right. It is tough. But dang it, if we're not going to hope it happens.
Hey, and look, I really hope I don't get on the wrong side because I first of all, coming to Atlanta, I was working Sporting Kansas City. Sporting amazingly got a win in Atlanta the year you guys won MLS Cup. And it took a red card, for the goalkeeper for Sporting to be able to pull that off. But seeing the atmosphere there, first of all, I couldn't be more impressed with what Atlanta is as a person that wants to see the sport continue to grow in this country, to see the atmosphere in the stadium, to see, and you want fans that have expectations, that just because you're spoiled doesn't mean you don't have the right to expect to hold your team to a standard, right? And to expect them to win on a consistent basis. By the way, look at what's happening in Seattle right now, too.
Yep.
And I don't think that Brian Schmetzer has forgotten how to coach. You get injuries in this. And one thing you have to say, too, guys, and I'm not trying to excuse everything away. Look at the teams when they lose their designated players in this league. What happens to their results? Everybody wanted Peter Vermees fired at Kansas City last year after their first 10 games of the season. Yeah. He didn't have his designated players. Gets his designated players back. They make it all the way to the playoffs and the conference semifinals. You got 3 designated players. Giacomakis, I assume you guys love him. I love him. I love watching that man play. I'm a bit of a Celtic fan, so I had an idea about him before he came. And I mean, you talk like the tip of the spear, a guy that works and works and works, not just hunting for goals, out of possession, he goes and goes and goes. That's a big loss, and I understand that he's not the reason you're giving goals away late in games, but maybe you get an extra goal or two in the process. And I don't know. Obviously, the situation on the back line with the lack of experience is an issue. I'm not trying to, I guess I'm just trying to make you guys feel a little bit better. There's still a lot to hope for this season, I think.
Yeah, it's early, and you're not wrong. I think these last 3 matches, I say 3 because the away match against NYCFC was one of those where it could have gone either way. It was a 1-1 draw. Both teams had opportunities. It is what it is. But it's the past 2 that the fans are definitely. I'm having a tough time accepting it. It's frustrating, but it's soccer. It's the game we love.
And let you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't there a lot of roster issues that needed to be sorted out last year?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Still being sorted out.
Still being sorted out.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So, and I think I know as like a fan, you don't want to have to hear about, well, we inherited this issue and that issue, but Garth Lagerwey, I think I think you got a great person. I think that the proof is in the pudding there. I think the long-term decision making is exactly what you need.
Yeah, agreed. So let me take you back a couple weeks then to the last time Atlanta played Chicago. And it's so weird that it's already been this quick of a turnaround, but Atlanta won 3-0 at home. Since then, Chicago's won 1-1, but they're coming off of a tough one, a very, very tough one. What are your just overall thoughts on Chicago as a whole so far in kind of your match prep?
Well, like when I say that you guys are spoiled in Atlanta, in Chicago, it's the exact opposite, right? They have been whatever the opposite of being spoiled is. It's been a rough go for Chicago for some time. A club that was at one point really proud in Major League Soccer. It just the direction hasn't been there. I'm digging up my notes here right now for you guys, but the drought of playoff appearances. In a league where it's not that hard to make the playoffs, right? And when we talk about designated players, Xherdan Shaqiri has not been what they need. The body language has been poor. The production has been, every once in a while you see glimpses of him and say, boy, if they could get that Shaqiri, things would be a lot better. They went out, and I know they spent some money this offseason, but there just hasn't been much direction, for Chicago for quite some time. And it's got to be maddening for the Chicago fans that are, trying to stay loyal and stick with their team. And like, I think Gutierrez is one of the top young players in America. I think if he had a team, like I'll use this as an example, guys. I was lucky enough to get to watch Lionel Messi play in person a couple of times down in Florida last year when he first joined Inter Miami. Just in the stands as a fan, bought a ticket. I happened to be down there. The way he would put his arm around the young players around him, and he would coach them. He would talk to them about what they should be seeing, all those things. Busquets would do the same thing, but not in a demeaning way. Not in a way that would beat them down or make them feel would damage their confidence. And a guy like Lionel Messi has the power. He can crush your confidence if he wants to, right? If he just treats you like, man, you're terrible, you shouldn't be out here, that could crush a young player's confidence. But you saw players like, Kramaski come alive because they were on the field with Messi. I don't see that with Shaqiri and Gutierrez. And I feel like Gutierrez is one of these kids. You watch him play from time to time, and he makes amazing plays. If I remember correctly, you guys tell me the games run together. I feel like he made an incredible play against Atlanta United last year in which he pounced on a ball, made a perfect pass. Chicago scored a goal. And it was a type of vision where I'm going, this kid really has something. But then you see him when he's on the field with Shaqiri sometimes, and they they're not on the same page. And then the body language from Shaqiri just looks like, are you trying to help this kid or not? You know, and man, that's gotta be frustrating when a guy's making that much money and he's not really elevating the young players around him. I think that's a problem. So I understand why you're confident, honestly, you know, going into this match.
Another player that Chicago have paid a lot of money for is Hugo Kuipers. You know, $12 million, a club record for an incoming transfer, just 2 goals in 9 matches. Just in your opinion, why hasn't Hugo Kuipers come good for Chicago in the relatively short time he's been with the club?
It's a great question. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that's maddening about Chicago is when I talk about like this lack of success over the past several years, lack of making it to the playoffs. It's not lack of investment, is it? I mean, they're paying Shaqiri a ton of money. You know, this is a big move, bringing Kuipers in. I can't sit here and tell you why it hasn't come together, but it goes back to what we were talking about. You just look at it: 9 games, 2 goals, no assists. You need more than that when you're gonna pay somebody that type of money in this league. You only have so many resources, and you know, I'm not qualified to tell you it's because they're not creating enough chances for him. He's got 16 shots on the year. He's got 5 on target. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, guys, because that was one of the biggest signings in the offseason, right? And that was something that you thought, well, maybe this is something that Chicago can really build upon, but the production hasn't been there. And if you're not getting production from the players that you invest that much money in, it's really, really difficult to win.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like you kind of hit it. Chicago have maybe just run into a lot of maybe rotten luck. I mean, you know, they're spending money. The Shaqiri, hasn't come good for them. And now Kuipers, granted, it's still early, but Kuipers still is getting his feet underneath the MLS, taking a little bit more time than planned. Meanwhile, you see in LA, Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck immediately have made an impact for the Galaxy. Look at where they are in the standings. So just pretty unfortunate, if you're a Chicago fan, seeing how those 2 players have turned out, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it, though, is like how you're assembling your squad, right? Does the player fit with what you're trying to do? Do you have the pieces that work around it? What's the system that you're going to play? Does the player fit the system? And culturally, is the player going to be bought in? I mean, again, to take it back to Giakoumakis, that's one of the things that I love so much about him is that he seems like he is fully invested. I know he's had a difficult time staying healthy, but when you watch him play, he just seems like he's fully invested in the process. On the flip side, Chicago, they're toward the bottom of the Eastern Conference in expected goals. It just doesn't seem like they're creating much in the way of chances in general. And a lot of times when you look at Chicago, you're just kind of at a loss for, okay, well, what's their system? What's their style? What's their identity? Who are they trying to be when they play? And that's been a hard thing to put your arms around for a long time.
So I wanted to ask you this because we periodically ask folks from MLS, and we've had players, we have BWP on, we've had Atlanta players, we've had other folks. Sasha Colestion was another one. Like, what, from an Atlanta perspective, obviously this is an away game. They haven't won an away match in their last 9. That's been an ongoing conversation this season. It goes all the way back to the preseason. Gonzalo Pineda made a big deal about it. They didn't play a single preseason match in Atlanta. They were all away because they wanted to build up that mindset. What in this country and this league makes it so difficult to go get a result on the road? or like, are we writing the book together and we're getting rich?
Isn't that the $1 million question, right? Yeah. In a word, my answer to that is parity. And I think it's one of the things that I love this league. I think that people that don't love this league are sleeping on it because, look, I'm here at CBS right now, and we've been watching. It's been awesome, by the way, because I'm sitting in this studio watching. We got Ligue 1 over here. We got Premier League matches over here. We got Coppa Italia here. We got Coppa Libertadores here. We're just watching every match, and it's like you're just drinking soccer from a fire hose, you know.
Anytime you want to send the invite, hey, we're
yeah.
This is the first time I've been invited out here. I don't know if they're going to invite me back, so we'll see. But the thing about it is, almost all of these other leagues, you have a pretty strong sense of who's supposed to win every match, right? And it's far less dependent on who's at home and who's away, and far more about that team's a lot better than that team. And in this league, I think because of the, and I think they've done a good job of emulating the NFL model, which is everybody's got a shot. Regardless of the market size, we can see Columbus go be the best team in this league, right? It isn't always just LAFC. And I like that. And maybe it's my small market roots, but I do like the idea that there's some sort of a level playing field, and this is going to be determined more off of who can manage their roster the best, who can manage their tactics the best, who can have the best culture, as opposed to who can just go spend the most money. And obviously, that's oversimplifying things. Chelsea spends a ton of money, and they're still a joke, right now.
Yep.
Right now, I'm going to get all the Chelsea fans mad at me. I just mean right now, But in general, right, if your budget's 10 times what the other team's budget is, you're going to steamroll. In this league, because there's so much parity, the little things become big things. So your designated players hurt, your chances of winning go way down. You had a game on Wednesday and the team you're playing against didn't. I always watch for that when I'm watching an MLS game. Which team is fully rested and which team had to play a really tough game on Wednesday, right? That's a huge factor to me. But then home and away. Home and away matters, but it matters a lot more in this league, I think, than it does in other leagues, just because you're already talking about two teams that are on similar footing. So I think that just makes home field advantage that much more stark. Then on top of that, you add in the fact that this country is massive. If you're flying from Atlanta to Seattle, you're going multiple time zones, it's funny because everybody I talk to that comes from Europe to this league laughs at that notion at first. And by halfway through the summer, they're not laughing anymore, are they?
Usually it takes like the first two matches.
Yeah. And then you're playing in Austin in July in those types of conditions. And I just think that those are things that in other countries, for the most part, players don't have to deal with. The length of the travel, the weather conditions that you play in, and then in the fact that we're actually just not that much better than the other team. Even if we're better, we're not that much better. So I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I'm definitely interested in your opinions, but that's why I believe it's such a, home field advantage is so much more pronounced in this league than maybe others.
And nobody laughs about it when it's the NFL. Like these people, like the people in the NFL, they're most of them are playing in this country. They're playing in college, right? And they understand moving from West Coast to East Coast, and it's hard for them. Now you got people that are coming in that have not experienced this before, and they struggle with it.
Yeah, a lot of times if you're in England, you're not even getting on a plane to go to your away matches.
Yeah.
Hop
Some
on a
of them you
bus.
could walk to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you hit on it. I think those are all definitely like the things that, have been brought up for sure. Like travel is significant. I think the travel one irritates me when it's like Atlanta to Nashville, right? Or Atlanta to Charlotte, or, the Red Bulls and NYCFC or something like that, where it's like, that shouldn't be a factor, but there's no consistency to it. And I think that definitely throws a wrench in things because it's never, like England, perfect example. It's never as simple as you might have to hop on a train, or you might have to take the team bus for like a 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive at the most. That's the worst you're going to do, right? Here, you might spend 5 minutes, going up to Yankee Stadium, or you might have to fly over to Los Angeles, 3,000 miles away.
Well, let's also talk about the variance of the facilities and surfaces, right? If you go to NYCFC, you're playing on a bowling alley. There's no width to the field all of a sudden. It changes. Everything's, congested in the middle of the field. If you're the type of team that likes to play expansive soccer where, you're using the entire width of the field, all of a sudden the entire game model for you changes. if you're Atlanta, I would be curious to hear how the players feel. But the way the ball moves on an artificial surface versus the way that it moves on a natural grass surface can be different. And that might seem like a small thing, but I've seen teams where it's like, okay, we're used to zipping the ball across the ground, and then all of a sudden we're on an artificial surface. The ball's going to bounce a little bit more, and that one touch is a little different than what you're used to it being. And that can be the difference when we're talking, again, about very, very narrow margins between two teams that are fairly equal. I mean, that's one of the things I love about it. When I'm getting ready for a match, I don't know who's going to win this weekend, because you'll see a last place team knock off a first place team in Major League Soccer, and it doesn't feel like this is the greatest upset in the world. That's not happening in the English Premier League.
Yeah. And well, I mean, for Tommy's sake, I hope it turns out okay for him. Right. But no, I mean, and you're right. And we don't want to take too much of your time. You, I know you're up there, you got stuff to prepare for, so we want to be sensitive to your time. We do got to thank you, by the way, because we're on a streak now of guests, especially from MLS, that are providing some of the coolest like studio options.
I know.
Being on here.
So
you got us Paramount Plus. Kaylin Kyle was on a couple of weeks ago, and she was actually in the salon getting her hair done. At the time.
And then Jaime Macias had his F1 simulator in his home studio. So
oh wow, that's amazing. Yep. Yeah, nobody does my hair, as you can see.
Yeah. Me neither.
It's about a 10-second process of doing this real quick.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I'm not even going to take my hat off and make myself feel bad. Yeah. But no, Nate, we appreciate you coming on 100%. We appreciate you taking the time, and you're welcome back anytime. When are you going on tonight over on CBS?
So Scoreline is the show that Chris Winningham and I are doing today, and it's already aired, and then they'll kind of rerun it the rest of the night. But what we're doing now is we're hanging out, we're watching the Copa Libertadores matches, and we're watching CONCACAF Champions Cup. When those are over, we'll come back in and we'll kind of voice over those highlights and add a segment to the Scoreline show because we already did segments where we got to talk about the EPL and the Copa Italia, some of the big news of the day. Then when these matches happen, we add that all in. So we're just kind of sitting around eating pizza, watching soccer. I mean, it's a pretty rough gig, to be honest with you guys.
I know, man.
Back-breaking work here.
I know. Don't try to go easy. Don't feel hard.
I do want to say this, guys, and at the risk of sounding like I'm kissing up, I went and listened to a couple of your podcasts before this. For somebody like me who's trying to come in and cover your team, and my goal is by the time that the match kicks off this weekend, that you'll feel like, yeah, this guy really knows our team. He knows what's going on. What you do is essential for somebody like me. I applaud you guys, not for your audience in particular, but you guys know all of the ins and outs of what's going on with your squad. You know what the fan base cares about. You know what they're upset about, frustrated about, excited about. I noticed that you guys, yes, you get upset when the team loses, but you also seem to have a rational approach to things. And so, anyways, I just want to say for the sport in this country, what you do, I think it can't be overstated how big it is for people like me, but also for the fans too. So keep up the great work. All right,
appreciate it.
We truly
appreciate that.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
And by the way,
and you called us rational. That's the best thing, because nobody calls us that often. So
well. I mean, as you know, you don't want to be too rational. This is a passion-based industry, right? Like if we don't care, I mean, it's not rational to shave your beard, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's why I'm proud that you called us that. Well, I'm taking as you called me that. So
yeah.
Right. Nate, by the way, next time you see Jacob Peterson, tell us hello for us, or tell him hello for us. I know you worked with him for years at KC. So former Atlanta United legend.
I got a story for you guys if you got time.
Yeah, hey, we're all ears.
You guys Ted Lasso fans at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
The reason Ted Lasso is so brilliant, not just the fact that Jason Sudeikis is from my hometown of Kansas City.
Barbecue sauce.
If you guys ever come to KC, I'll take it to Arthur Bryant's. That was the wallpaper on his laptop. Nice. That's my favorite spot too. Nice. But the reason that show is so brilliant, it's not the soccer on the field. It's all the stuff off the field that happened in those episodes. I would watch it and go, they've got writers that understand that they had writers that clearly had worked in professional soccer, because those storylines, even the ones that you think are really far-fetched, are real. And Jacob Peterson is Roy Kent. Jacob Peterson, do you remember the scene when Roy Kent and Keely are sitting on a bench and she tries to convince him to become a pundit or a broadcaster?
Yes. Yeah.
And he goes, I always hated those guys. I had that exact conversation with Jacob Peterson after he retired and moved back to Kansas City. He was trying to figure out what he wanted to do next, and he was kind of miserable because all he ever wanted to be was a soccer player, right? And I convinced him to come play one night on my over 30 league team. And he did it one time, and then he was like, I'm never playing with you idiots again. But I was like, we got Jacob Peterson out here playing, but we went and had a beer afterwards. And I told him, I said, hey, man, we need a color commentator. We didn't have one for the upcoming year. And you would really be good at it because you love the game and you would take it seriously and you would work hard. And he said, it was the same conversation because I always hated those guys. I always told myself when I was playing, I'd never be one of them. And I said, yeah, but it would reconnect you to the game. It would make you realize you still love this sport and that it has something to offer you even after you're done playing. And just like Roy Kent, he did it for a couple years. And then he went into the technical side, and that's where he works now because that's where he belongs. Just like Roy Kent, he doesn't want to be a broadcaster. He wants to be involved with the operations of the team. But anyways, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. And Jacob Peterson is Roy Kent, and he's still one of my good buddies to this day. I love the guy. We talk all the time. Yeah, great dude. I'll definitely tell him that you guys said hi.
That's awesome. The stories always come from somewhere. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a reason that character existed. Jacob Peterson's not the first one, you know?
Yep. 100%. We appreciate it and have fun. I mean, wish we were in your shoes eating some pizza. It's not deep dish, right? Because I've already went on a tangent about deep dish.
That's not really pizza.
Thank you.
I like it, but it's pizza casserole is what it is. Oh, he's leaving the studio. I didn't say it's not good. It's delicious, but it's pizza casserole, you know?
We'll have to have you back to continue this discussion, Dave.
I got the Atlanta fans mad at me. I got people from Chicago mad at me. God, what am I doing here?
You may not make it out of Soldier Field on Saturday.
Truly unbiased commentating going into this weekend.
Yep. I'm telling all the Chelsea fans.
Right.
Telling them all.
I'm an Arsenal fan, so whatever, man.
We're on the same page, man.
There we go.
See, OFYO. Anyway.
Hey, deep dish is good. It's delicious. I'll eat pizza. There's not a bad pizza as far as I'm concerned. But I learned about something out here in Stanford. It's called New Haven style pizza, which is some kind of thin crust. It's almost like a cross between New York style and Neapolitan style or something. But it was good. That's what I had today.
Nice.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, we appreciate your time, man. And when you find yourself down at the Benz as well, come say howdy to us. We'll be up in the press box. So
can't wait. I can't wait. I hope I get assigned to a match down there sometime because you guys got one of the best atmosphere. And by the way, massive Dirty South rap fan. I mean, Outkast is definitely in my top 5. I love all the amazing artists that come through the Benz and hammer the spike and everything. Like every time I see one of them, I get excited about it. And I love the kit last year. I never got one of the kits. That's one yes, that one. Oh, one of the best. One of the best. So I hope I get to come down and see you guys. That would be great.
Yeah. Outkast is the new goal song. Well, B.O.B. is the new goal song.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Love it.
Well, hopefully we'll see you down here soon, man.
Definitely.
Sounds good, guys. And again, sorry about being late today, but thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries at all.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
All right.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And in the CBS studio.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But yeah, at this point, he may be the most unbiased commentator to call this Chicago match.
I know.
Great insight, though. Tommy looked like
winning.
he had something to say.
We're winning.
Are you more
jinxing us earlier? We're winning.
I mean, we are. We better.
For everyone's mental health, everyone listening, the players, Pineda, Boca, Garth,
everybody.
People people on Twitter, they're going to see a flood. They're friends with a couple of Atlanta United fans on Twitter. They're going to see it in their algorithm nonstop. We apologize if this happens. It's for the best of the world. Sorry, Chicago. We're winning. We're getting your coach fired. We're doing all of it. Don't make that face, Sydney. Don't make that face. I'm saying it.
I was so worked up about this.
It's a loser leaves town match. That's what it is.
I was so worked up about this in this episode that I literally just told Nate on accident. We were talking about Arsenal, and I was thinking of, come on, you Gunners, COYG. Mm-hmm. And I totally said, OFU Orlando. I said, OFU. I'm at that point of the night.
Well, we're almost at 2 hours. I mean,
wow, man. Time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah.
So have more fun with us. Come hang out. Again, we're having a virtual watch party. Join the Patreon. That's what we're going to be doing Saturday night. It's going to be crazy. I've already told these guys I'm planning on having quite a few drinks during this game because I've psyched myself up mentally for this game. Sydney bought a whole gallon of water. He's ready to party. Stop. Tyler's got his drinks.
Stop.
We're going to find some pizza. We'll find some deep dish pizza somewhere.
Lasagna
hang out. It's going to be fun. And then we'll do spaces afterwards. And yeah. Bring your water. Bring your beers.
I like it.
Bring it all.
2-1 Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. We didn't give our predictions.
I'm keeping it easy. 2-1 Atlanta.
Quick predictions.
3-1.
1-0 Atlanta.
Boring.
No. It's a win, but I don't care.
Hey, any win's good. I just like a less stressful one. 3-1.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
David popping in. 3-1 Atlanta. Good. Let's go. I like it.
All right. Well, we'll be back. We're working on some new things. We might be on a little bit more. We're not sure. We got to get this figured out. But if not, we will see you for our ratings episode and talking about a win.
Hopefully, which I think we will.
Stop being negative.
I'm not
Stop hating Atlanta United.
Trying to save your beard.
I don't hate this. I don't hate them. Thanks everyone.
Who do you like, Sydney?
What do you mean?
Not Chicago.
The only guy I know you like is Adam John because you always yell at me when I call him a jerk.
Well, I'm trying to get you to be nicer.
Not to Adam John. No, if he came in front of you and just shushed you, you'd be very upset about it, and I'm not getting over it. I'm not getting over it. He became an Atlanta United player, and scored maybe 2 goals, and then what happened? Then he goes back to Columbus and shushes us during the playoffs. No, get rid of him. We already got rid of him. Perfect. Good. Stay away. Don't come back to the Pens. You're not hammering the spike. Get out of here.
We're on Patreon as well. Patreon.com/ScarsandSpikes.
Just ignore every damn word I say.
We're doing a quarter season preview and interviewing a Chicago Fire guest, so join us there.
Good show.
We didn't start the fire. Oh, we beat the fire.
We're running out of music.
Sydney hates the team. He really hates them.
We're out of music.
All right, hit it the end.
All right, kill it.